family time live. How are you doing? Today I do not have my microphone, my tripod, or any of the things that I normally have. I've just propped this up on the cabinet and I have a lamp that I've randomly put there, but I haven't got any of the stuff because I couldn't carry it all the way to Australia. But how is everyone doing? So the live is called family time because this is a time usually for quite a lot of people where you are off work maybe, or you have time home because of holidays, Christmas time if you live in the West or in countries where you celebrate Christmas. So basically it is a time where people are home a lot and it can be quite confronting. That's why I put that trailer up about us. And I'll go into detail. There's lots of synchronicities and signs and meanings behind that can relate to the twin flame journey, especially in terms of your shadow self reflected. So if you haven't watched that film, Us, I recommend you watch it. It's amazing. So Christmas is holiday time with friends and family, especially New Year's as well across the world, isn't it really? A lot of you have been having a lot of dreams, a lot of telepathy and a lot of downloads. Someone asked me, how am I doing? I am better, thank you very much. I will go into a bit of detail more about what's been going on with me a lot. But through the healing, actually speaking directly to God and getting loads of telepathy and answers from my DM actually, and understanding everything. Any questions I have, like I just ask God and I understand. And I have a lot of mysteries solved today. At the end, I'll go through quite a few things that have bothered me for 3 years about the journey, and I figured it out. So we're going to that. But the DMs are going through it right now, okay, in terms of realization and guilt. So a lot of them feel very guilty of what they did. Now, this is not going to be for all of them, but it's generally if you've done the work and you are a twin flame, because some of you are not twin flames. So we'll talk about that because in 2026, the masculine is going to return. It is the return of the masculine. And they're going to make it up to you. They are going to make it up to you because they feel bad. They feel guilty if you've done the work. Now, if your DM isn't changing and it's been a couple of years, then either you haven't done enough work and you need to go deeper. And you might say to me, how much deeper do I need to go? Well, that's what I thought, because I was doing a lot of work, like in the sense of sometimes 10 to 12 hours a day of inner child healing, right? And then doing all the purpose work as well. And still he wasn't changing, okay? The first year he definitely didn't change. He was off his rocker. I'll explain more about why they are in separation the way they are as well. But the second year didn't really change that much either. It was the third year that he completely changed when I left to go South America. So, but before that, very high in craziness. Now, not all of your DMs are that I was going to say evil, but that toxic, because some of you have less karma, less ego, and I'll talk about that. But if your DM isn't changing, either you haven't done enough work. And that's why when I went to South America, I was doing all the biggest plant medicines that people do. Like, people are scared of some of these things like ayahuasca, ibogaine. Like, they're quite scary medicines. But if you're serious about your journey and you are a twin flame, you do it, okay? So those whose DMs are not changing, either you need to go deeper or you're not a twin flame. Because I've been having loads of feminines driving me insane this week. And you've seen with my posts, because when you're ill and then also you are moving out of a villa and you're relocating country, and then there's issues with my passport, which I'll talk about. So many things I had an issue with my family too. So many issues been going on. And at the same time, you have all these feminines messaging. I am very grateful to God that I have a huge platform and people watch. But I know the journey makes you slightly crazy. It does. And it made me crazy too. The difference is any support or help I got, I paid for it. So any coach or online person, I paid them. I didn't message them for free or bug them and annoy them and keep going on and on and on. I was crazy. I am not going to lie, because the fear comes up and you go insane. But I paid them, okay? So there's a lot of lack of respect, actually, that was happening this week with people disrespecting their DMs, disrespecting the journey, disrespecting me on TikTok, on email, via DM, on Instagram, comments as well, right? And I'm like, the only I'm like the only twin flame coach that I know on social media that actually replies to all comments and DMs. You know, you look at Regina Sharman, for instance, she don't reply to nobody, and she charges like $5,000 just to have an appointment. Okay, and I might have to change the way I do things because some of you take the piss, and I know I'm a very nice person, but I can also be a very boundaried person as well. Some of you may not know that I actually didn't have an easy life. I grew up in extreme violence and extreme polarization growing up. That's why my journey was so fucked up with my DM, because my father was extremely violent. And I've had to do a lot of work. My childhood, I've mentioned sometimes on their lives, but I've never gone into detail. But because the DMs always talk about how their childhood is shit, right? But the DFs also had shit childhoods. But I remember my psychologist used to always say, your childhood is a war zone. That's how it was. So to get from that to a place of peace, I was a very anxious person, speaking very fast. I had to do a lot of inner work to get to this stage. And that's why I'm very resilient and robust. And I had a very tough twin flame as well. So what you may not understand is I can be a bitch and I could push the block button very quickly. But my patience only runs so thin, especially when I have issues with my passport, with my visa, when I'm moving country, when I'm so sick and my videographer is calling me every day and we have to get up, I have to pull myself out of bed and film. And then at the same time, I'm ill and all sorts of things and my family issues and this and that. A lot of stuff's going on. And if you are just going on and on about your stuff without paying or without booking a session, and as soon as I say, please, you're asking, like some of you ask your whole life story and answers in an email. And I say, it's too much. You're going to have to book a session. Then it's crickets. There's no noise. It's like you are not serious. You know, you may say, oh, I haven't got money or this and that and the other, but you can pay £5 for a question, right? That's not that much. But I think some of you are just not serious, or you're just in la la land, or you like to be in this crazy town. So yes, I had to do a lot of work and I respected all my teachers, but I've had some people like being rude to me, swearing at me. Recently, there's a guy who I interviewed actually, and if you're watching, you know who you are, who started being very abusive actually in comments and saying things, and now all of a sudden he's popped back because he gets triggered quite a lot and wants to hang out in Sydney. Now that's great, I'm more than happy, but without an apology and acknowledgement, it's not going to happen. Because I remember in the beginning, I had like a couple of DMs who used to swear at me every day. And there comes a point where you just can't take abuse, right? So I finally blocked that. Let me just get my water bottle. Oh, I finally blocked that woman. Do you remember the woman who said when I was wearing one of my crop tops and she says, you got your belly button out and you're traveling all over the place and your DM, that's why he's not with you. And then I was like, okay, hold on. Let me check her profile. And I checked her profile out and she's got naked bikini pictures and men saying they want to lick her breasts and whatever body parts. And I was like, why are you saying, how can you tell me anything when you're doing the same? Anyway, she commented again about my birthday video, remember? She says, you're blowing out your flame on the cake. So you're blowing out your twin flame or some bullshit like that. I ignored it. And then I had a Shiva post and I had Shiva music. And she's like, why are you posting Christian music? And she's like Eastern European or something like that. Not to, you know, but it was a Shiva song. And she just kept going on and on. And then she said something else. And I thought, you know, bitch, I'm blocking you. Get the fuck out of my page. And I was ill. So sometimes you have to be ruthless because some of these people are idiots and twats. Anyway, so if your DM isn't changing, yes. So I've had some really ridiculous people actually. And sometimes it feels like when you're the most ill, you have the least patience. Because I still don't have appetite. I'm literally not eating. Which is great. I'm losing a lot of weight. So it's fantastic because I put on a bit of weight. But there's like some people who are like, oh, the DF suffers more. And I'm like, I don't have patience no more. So I'll just say, well, get a score sheet. You know, I'll try to be funny about it. Or another one saying that, oh, I've been on this journey for 15 years and I love him. I'm obsessing over him and blah, blah, blah. He's never come back. And you try to give advice, like you got to bring your energy back and you got to heal. And she's like, no, I'm never going to do that. And it's like, and then I just said, carry on, continue. If that's how you want it, you can carry on playing the sob story. And then there's others who carry on by saying that, oh, I'm an ascended master on earth and I've become queen of the world or whatever they go on about, and my DM has not changed and I'm never going to take him back, and he can die, and this and that and the other. And you're not ascended if you're at that place. You're definitely not. And I don't know if some of these people watch my stuff or they're just new followers. Some of them are not new followers. There's people who've followed me for a while and they ask the most ridiculous, stupid shit, right? They'll be like, what is DM? What is DF? And I'm like, where do you live? Under a rock? Like, some people just test patience for no reason. And I won't reply to those people. I'll just put a smiley face or no comment whatsoever. Because you know what? I ain't got time for idiots. Because you have to imagine, right? I have a regular job, then I do this as spare time alone, and then I'm traveling, and then I'm doing content, books, I'm on the journey myself, I was ill, I've got other things going on too. I haven't got time to be answering stupid questions and stupid, idiotic things. And I might become like Regina Sharman and not reply to anyone and charge $5,000. You know, because there comes a point where people just want to bleed you dry for the sake of it because they're just idiotic and they can't chat GPT or Google something, right? And they think that you should just be available for them because you should. No, I am available for no one. I didn't even want to do twin flame content, and I didn't want to do any of this stuff. I only did it because I was told I had to, but otherwise I wanted to stay away. And to be honest, sometimes it's more hassle than it's worth, you know? I mean, there are positives in it because I do learn to generally be more stable and balanced regardless of the craziness. But I was speaking to my friend Isla. Now, the thing is, sometimes people try to sympathize with me and say, oh, I understand, but you don't, because you only understand because, this is me being very generalized, okay? Those people only understand because they're on the journey and their DM's pissing them off or they have a family issue, right? Whereas I don't have that issue generally. Like, my issue is not DM at all. My issue generally is not family. My issue is the thousands of people that bother me in a negative way online. Right? And unless you are an influencer and you are doing twin flame stuff, because when I used to do LGBT coaching or coaching men or women or whatever it was easier, okay? But the twin flame stuff obviously brings out your madness, right? So I was speaking to Isla the other day, and the same people use her a lot and abuse her a lot as well. And she's too kind. She doesn't have the bitchiness that I have, even though she's a Scorpio too. But she, like, one of the DFs that contacts her, because she gave her number to people, and it's a mistake, and I also did the same, and it's a mistake, and I might have to change my number one day, but I'll talk about that. But basically, and by the way, I wanted to keep this live quite light and funny and it's getting serious, but the things I teach, I hope that it can somehow resonate for you, so you learn how to have your own boundaries and how to also respect other people's boundaries, because a lot of you, if true twin flames, will have to do purpose work if you're not already, and you might come across these things. It's like people get very attracted to your light and they just want to hold on to you thinking you're going to fix them. Anyway, so Isla's client was like acting up on Christmas Eve, and Isla celebrates Christmas, okay, and basically was bothering her, and then it just ended up with Isla giving her a session on Christmas Eve and giving all her time and energy. And it's like, why are these people not respecting that she's an older lady and she's on holiday and she has a family and kids and she's Christian and she's got things to do? Like, why are you bothering people on God's days? What is wrong with you? And that's the level of madness and self-absorption, actually. Anyway, so if you've done the work, then they will change. But those ones who claim that they're ascended masters of the universe and then they're still saying that they're done with their DM, there's no compassion left in them about their DM. So for them, they're probably not a twin flame, or they definitely haven't got to that stage where they think they're at. They're still in the stage of bitterness, you could say. And I know that because I was the same. I've been through all those stages. And I wonder how the stages will progress further, because maybe it'll get even better. All right, so way you know. All right, so the way, this is what I was thinking about when I was like hallucinating on the plane ill, whilst I was coughing and blowing my nose. If you desperately want to be a twin flame and you're confused, you're probably not a twin flame, okay? If you don't want to be a twin flame and you get the signs for confirmation, you probably are a twin flame. You probably are a twin flame, because actual twin flames don't want to be twin flames. It's the wannabes that are not twin flames. The wannabes, the confused, and the ones who've been confused for like years and years. you have personal issues there that you need to let go of. Okay, so because when you heal, they are meant to heal too. It's not instant. It could be years later, but they should show it, okay? And if my twin was so distorted, it could change, but I did a lot of work. I'm not a lazy person, and I do talk about it. Some of you don't like it when I call you lazy feminine, some of you lazy. But I felt like I moved mountains and God knows what. The amount of work that has gone into this, oh my God, it's taken everything. And not in just the sense of, doing my own inner work and I'm blah, blah, blah. I've had to heal my family. I've had to heal friends. I've had to work with my purpose and create a whole network of all sorts of things and constantly, pushing the boundaries with books and videoing even though I'm ill, and then creating retreats and then planning retreats for next year further. It's just constant, right? So it's not like I'm on vacation and I'm just chilling and relaxing. I'm constantly having to post and having to think about this and that and the other. It's a ongoing thing. It is. So, okay. I've never had worked so hard in my life, let's just say that. But God gives you the energy to do it. But then when you're not in your best health and then people are annoying you, it's not great. All right. So if your twin flame is waking up and ascending, if your person is waking up and ascending, then obviously it's a twin flame, But if it's taking years and years and years and there's nothing you're seeing, I'm sorry, but you're not, And they're in limerence, or it's karmic, right? Because your DM will be coming back in. Not always straight away. I mean, my one hasn't come back in a couple of years, but that's because, and I'm going to talk about the light packets exchanged, the things I figured out. I'll mention them at the end. And by the way, do not do any of that crying emoji and all that stuff in the comments, because it's really tacky and irksome, and it's really disempowering. So do not do crying face emoji, because I just don't like it. All right. So how has the last week been for you? There's been loads of tests, okay? There's been loads of tests, and I've talked about, I'll answer the questions later. Someone asked, how do you know your twin is ascending? So if your twin is available on social media, or they're coming back in and out, you will be able to obviously physically be able to see that. Or usually they disappear from social media if they're very active. But otherwise, what you do get is you'll get almost like a heart activation, and that happens like heart pain or heart explosion or heart attack or something like that. And that's when they have their satori, and you'll feel them awaken. And then it reflects you, okay? So if you feel peaceful, blissful, happy, joyful, and great, it means you're out of your healing period and you're done and you're doing your purpose, you're living your life, then that's when they're going through it. If you're down in the dumps and obsessed and going through all the madness, then they are not awakening. As soon as you have healed, then they are awakening. So when you're feeling like you're having the best time of your life. And some of you don't seem to ever get there, and I wonder why. Some of you I've been doing this now for 2.5 years, and some of you are still dying, it seems. And it's very worrying, because right now things should be quickening and you should be getting better faster. It's just you're not doing enough inner work, probably. The amount you put in, the amount you get out, right? And if you want to prolong your pain, then carry on. But some of you, it does take longer, but I don't know, you should be able to feel better. And the thing is, just by doing prayers, it's not going to cut it. I talked about plant medicine with someone, and she was like, yeah, I drink ginger tea every morning. Girl, ginger tea ain't going to fix this. Ain't ginger tea I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about a divine feminine who blocked me, but I'll talk about that in a second, because she's like, I pray and I'm this and that, I'm ascended, and she ain't. She got loads of issues. I'll talk about that in a second. All right, so there's loads of tests, and I don't mean tests in the sense of on Christmas Day you have crying emoji and you are worried and obsessed about sending DM a message, because if you're still there after the first year of your journey, especially now, if it was first year like 2 years ago, then it's different, but things are getting faster now, and the newer wave people are getting through it really fast. So if it's been over a year that you've been on the journey and you are still over Christmas and crying and lamenting, then I'm a bit worried for you. That's your only focus, because you should be focused on purpose right now, really. And on Christmas, you're living your best life, and messaging the Christmas DM over Christmas is not a big deal for you. Also, they should message you. You're the divine feminine. It shouldn't be you pining over them. You should be in your light and power, enjoying life, okay? Receiving all the abundance of the universe. So, because I wrote in one of the captions about like, oh, there's loads of tests that you're experiencing. And the amount of messages and stuff, I go, yes, the test, the DM, I want to message him, that's my test. No, honey. I'm talking about those people that I've spoken to who are literally either in hospital, or they are losing their house, or they are losing their yoga studio and their livelihood, or they are getting divorced, or they're having big shit happen to them. Big shit tests, not tests of whether to message a DM or not. If you're still in that stage, you got to wake up and smell the coffee and do your work and get powerful. It's been too long to be in that disempowered, crazy state, isn't it? Do you want to start 2026 being that, oh, DM, it's not a good look and it's not attractive. You still want to be there? Carry on. But just don't message me. Like I said last week, I want people to message me shoulder to shoulder, inspire to inspire. I don't want to hear every day negative. That's really boring. And also, it's not really insightful. Unless you're a client and we work on it and we heal it, great. But if you're not a client and you purposely message me every day to tell me about your negative, crappy life, I ain't interested, because I don't find it uplifts me and makes me feel joyful. So you won't get a response from me no more, okay? So what, since I got this illness, I don't know how, so all of a sudden I'm able to basically get all these downloads, right? And from God, anything I ask God, like God is telling me. And I'm also getting a lot of telepathy with the twin flame. And it's not just me. A lot of DFs are getting to this stage too, the ones who have done their work. So basically, God is testing us. This is what I heard from God. Not because of DM or not because of karma or anything like that. It's a test to see how well we can maintain our balance and our peace in 0 point. Because that's a test when the DM returns of how balanced we are. And the DMs test us too, right? To see how we don't react. But God is testing us right now to make sure that we are able to trust and surrender and truly be in that place of peace no matter what. And not be in the mind overthinking. Because despite the world falling around you, how else will you walk through union? Okay? So I'm going to talk about some things about my own, which I'm going through quite a bit of stuff too, but I'm learning to keep maintaining 0 point. So you already know that I might be losing my job, which I mentioned already, but I lost my job before as well at the beginning of my journey, and I was in and out of hospital and all sorts happened. You know that if you followed me for a while. But anyway, so I was very ill since last Saturday from snorkeling in Indonesia. I've had no appetite even until now. The videographer still wanted to film and was pressuring me every day, and God's energy, God's grace got me out of bed somehow and got me filming in the heat. And then I was moving out of the Bali villa, packing for Australia. And I don't know if you've ever had to move out of a location and have to pack your suitcases for what's staying in the country, what's going out of the country whilst you're really ill and you have a fever. But that's what I was doing. And then when I got to the airport in Bali, and then this is really like stressing me out, but I had to leave it to God. And that's when God was saying God's testing and it's going to be fine. So let's hope it will be fine. But basically, I have a passport issue maybe with my returning back to Bali. So before I came to Bali, my passport expires in May this year. And I was like, shall I renew it? Shall I not renew it? I'm going to go back home in February. I don't need to renew it. And then there's a visa company in Bali that basically sorts out the visas. And I said, you know what? This is my passport. I want to be there till the 2nd of Feb. Is it okay? They said, yeah, it's fine. No problem. So I was like, okay. They said it's fine. They said, we'll do your 2 months and then we'll renew it. Fine. And then I decided in September to come to Australia because it's quite near, it's quite cheap. And I said, I'm going to go to Australia during this period. Are you able to like sort me out after when I come back? Am I allowed to leave the country and stuff? They said, yeah, it's fine, no problem. So I thought, you know what, it's okay. I don't need to sort my visa out or anything. But anyway, a couple of weeks ago, one person who's supposed to come on the retreat from Australia, she's having issues with her passport renewal, right? She kept saying it to me, and that was God maybe giving me a sign. I don't know. But as I was trying to leave the electric gates out of Bali, it wouldn't scan. The passport wouldn't scan. So then I had to go to the immigration people, and they were like, yeah, well, just sit down because your passport's going to expire soon. And I was like, oh shit, like, is Australia having an issue with this, or like, who's having an issue with it? But they came back quickly and they stamped it, said you can go. So then I went and sat down. I was like, oh phew. But then I started thinking, and I started chat GPTing everything, right? So it's like, oh, and at the same time I had an argument with my dad because he's just driving me nuts at the moment. Oh, he's stopped now, but like, what you don't realize also, that despite me being wherever I am, like, I have to sort everything out for my parents back home as well, like their admin, their hospital appointments, their doctor appointments, getting them Amazon deliveries, then their returns on Amazon. Like, literally, they are my children, and I am taking care of them whilst here. So they wanted some stuff ordered for like checking their sugar levels, and it was out of date. So I had to return it, and then I had to reorder another one, and they missed the return several times. The postman came several times, and they weren't over home. And it just really annoyed me because my father especially can be very entitled, very entitled. So I kind of had to go at him because that's also part of the healing. But anyway, so I sat down and I started chat GPTing everything. And it said that Australia is fine with the expiry of the passport, but Indonesia requires you to have 6 months expiry from date of entry. And I said, well, I entered 1st of November, so it should be okay. But my visa got cancelled as I exited on the 24th of December. And the visa company, instead of extending it, what they were going to do was reapply for a new one. So now the visa company is refusing to give me a visa. And they're saying I have to fly back to England to get a new passport. Well, they didn't say fly back to England. They just get a new passport, which means I have to fly back to England. So I was in a crazy panic because I have the retreat in January. Oh, goodness me. And this has never happened before because my passport's never expired. So I tried to contact the British consulate and embassy in Australia, and they were like, we can't really do anything, and an emergency passport won't work for Indonesia. And then I have emailed Indonesian consulate. They haven't replied because I think it's close for Christmas. And then basically I've tried calling their emergency number. They're not picking up. But what I did do was, when I Googled all this information at the airport in Bali as I was leaving, I tried to get off the airport to say I ain't leaving. I tried to run off the plane. And the immigration officer said to me, don't worry, we will let you back in, because we are very kind to foreigners and we will let you back in. Because I said, literally, my bags are locked in a storage in Bali, and also I'm doing a retreat and I'm doing videos and I'm doing all sorts of things. I need to go back. And he's like, don't worry, we'll let you back in. But we can't let you in now because your visa's expired. I was like, okay. But anyway, so after that, the visa company is saying they can't give me a visa. So we'll just see what happens, because hopefully the consulate will give me a letter to let me go through. Or they would just let me through like they said they would. Worst case scenario, I gotta fly back to England. And you can get a passport in England in 4 hours. So that's okay. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. It will all work out eventually. But God said to me, because I said, why is this happening? And God said, we are testing you to see if you are able to stay balanced. Because I was like, is it my own fault that I didn't renew my passport? Is it also maybe my DM kind of like upset that I'm traveling alone without him? Or is it something else? And God said, no, it's a test to see how balanced you can stay. So the test happened because when I was really, really ill, I kind of was thinking to myself that I just want to go back to England. Because when you're ill, you want to go home, right? You want to go to your mother and stuff. But I was just thinking I'm done with Bali, and I'm more productive at home. And then I also got telepathic messages. Like I said, I'm getting a lot of telepathy, a lot of guidance from my DM, where basically my DM was saying to me, I don't like you traveling by yourself and I should be with you, especially like to protect you and take care of you and stuff like that. And the DMs don't like it when we're living our life. Of course they don't. They want to be with us, but they're not coming forwards. So I was thinking maybe my DM did something, but no, it's tests from God. One way or the other, I will get to Bali, but we'll see whether I have to fly all the way back and get a new passport, or I'll be allowed just like that. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. God knows what's going to happen. Final thing before I'm going to talk about the live of today is I made this silly mistake of giving out my number to a few feminines who were visiting Bali, and or those who were thinking they were going to come to the retreat but they're not now. Anyway, some of them have been taking the piss by pretending to be very friendly with me, only to trauma dump on me daily because they have access to my phone, right? And that's not fair, especially when I've been ill. There's been no regard, or they might ask, hey, how are you? And I'm saying, I'm very, very ill right now. I'm very triggered right now. My husband did this, blah, blah, blah. But I'm very peaceful and ascended with God, but I have all these issues. And it's like constant. And then they phone and I don't answer it. And I just snapped the other day and I just said that basically you do realize that I'm ill and you're just every day doing this, right? And she didn't like it. She blocked me. She didn't like it. She blocked me because they can't handle when you put boundaries on, because you're supposed to be available for these, I'm going to say dickheads, but these people all the time. They don't realize that life does not revolve around them. You know, if I was just on the journey by myself and that's it, then it's fine. But I do like constantly work. Like I have clients, I'm doing the online stuff, I'm replying to all some of the hysterical divine feminines or who think they are, and then having all these people blowing up my WhatsApp, my personal phone, where I want to have peace, or I'm in bed. It's not fair, is it? It's nasty. It's disgusting, actually, because I wouldn't do it. But I don't want to be getting messages every day where I'm just hearing people's sob stories and negativity. I have spent over 80,000, it's probably 100,000 now, on my inner work and traveling, which is all related to my purpose and mission to be able to get to where I am today. And like I said to you, I grew up in a very violent household and my childhood was very fucked up. And I don't talk about it in detail, but it was really messy. And I've done years of work on myself. And I haven't done all that hard work to get to this place where every day I have moaning myrtles dragging me down and trying to suck on my energy. I will not allow it. So I will be blocking people left, right and center, or telling people to fuck off and do one. So there you go. And maybe you should do the same. Right. You can't always be nice with people. You can be somewhat. I was nice with her, but I was very direct. And she didn't like it. And some of you who have followed me for a while know that I blocked my cousin, who was like a best friend, but she was a very codependent, needy person. And I blocked my uncle. So if I can block my nearest and dearest, do you not think I can block some random people that I don't even know? Of course I can. All right. So yeah, self-absorbed with hysteria. And those who they throw their issues, you know, maybe I'm going to become more Riggy the Shaman, I think. I like the way she travels in business class with all y'all's money. I love it. All right. Today I was supposed to go snorkeling. I went on the boat, but ChatGPT says I shouldn't because of the sinus infection. I can get reinfected and get ill maybe for months or weeks. And interestingly, the lifeguard who was supposed to be helping me out with this other activity, because there was a submarine and then he was walking down with the big glass helmet down underneath, he was very attractive. Probably the first attractive man I've seen or been attracted to in a long time, which is for months. And what's interesting is when he told me his name was Angus. And Angus is my DM's ex's name. How interesting is that? Just wanted to finish off with that. Anyway, so the universe is very funny, isn't it? Right, so who of you have watched the film Us, which is what the trailer was for this live? So it's very similar to the reflection of our shadow self as twins, okay? It's an amazing video. You should watch it. I love it. So the core twin flame message from Us, you could say, if you look at it from that lens, is the other is me, okay? So Us is basically, you can't meet your DM or the one without meeting yourself. You have to do the inner work to be able to match it, okay? And in the movie is very interesting. So I'll give you a synopsis first and I'll describe it because some of you might not have watched it. So what's the actor? Lupita Nyong'o, I love her, she's amazing. So basically in that movie, there is a family that are basically traveling on holiday, And she keeps seeing a lot of signs and synchronicities, lots of 1111, a lot of this, a lot of that. And she's kind of like freaked out by it all. And all of a sudden they're in their house at night, and the boy says, oh, look, there's another family on the driveway. And this family are in red jumpsuits, and the woman who is standing there has got a knife, not knife, scissors, okay? And the scissors obviously 2 in 1, 2 handles. And basically the family is exact replica of that family, but they're the family from down under. And right now I'm in down under. Where am I? I'm in Australia, baby. It's down under. Okay, so it's the opposite. It's the shadow. It's the underground version. So basically the premise of the video in the film is amazing, that all of us have our own shadow versions underground who are living this like parallel dark life because they're not allowed up. And it's about their freedom and about their acceptance and integration, because the ones at top are kind of just living obliviously and not realizing that for each child, it's like for each light, there's a shadow, and the shadow child is put underground. So that can kind of be like your DM, but also your own inner shadow aspect. And in this story, Lupita Nyong'o, when she was a child, she, because the people in the shadow world cannot speak because they've never learned how to. So when she was a little child, she went into a fairground, which is where they went for holiday now, in the mirrors, magic mirrors, whatever you want to call it. Again, mirroring. And as she went towards the mirror, the other version of her, the girl version in the shadow version, grabbed her by the neck and shoved her down into the shadow world and came up into the light. So they swapped places. So now it's the light one from the shadow world coming back to reclaim her life. Okay? It's very interesting. So you don't meet the one without meeting yourself. You have to meet yourself. And the other one is an external partner. It's your split of self, your shadow, your unlived life, your unprocessed trauma, and your suppressed desire. And the reason why I mention that is, in today's post, I talked about the issues the divine feminine has with respecting other people's boundaries. It's very easy, right? And I said the feminine has. I didn't say the divine feminine. I said the feminine, because you cannot... Divine feminine is a title you have to earn. Okay? And not everyone is divine feminine. And I've had some like regular people saying, oh, I'm a divine feminine. No. It's very impossible to become divine if you haven't done the work. Okay? And twin flames have to do the work to ascend, and you have to shed all those layers. That's why you go through so much hell. There are people who are non-twins who can get to divine level status if they do a lot of work in the jungles, the plant medicine, with meditation, with healing, whatever else. But it is where you literally let go of all ego and distortion, right? So those soulmate type of people who are claiming to be divine feminine, divine masculine, they ain't got shit to claim that, because they haven't been through hell and let go of everything and had to literally bypass their ego and forgive everyone and not hold grudges and be like God on earth. That is divine feminine, and that is divine masculine, being God's version on earth. If you are not that, you ain't not no divine. Okay, you are distorted. So to get to that level, you have to basically integrate your shadow. And the tethered are the shadow people, right? So they feel like they have to become civilized to survive, get out from the underworld, because they're locked there. And there comes a point where the psyche can no longer handle the suppression of the shadow. And that's why you see in the world right now, the shadow is coming up to be seen. And people are getting crazier and more ridiculous, right? And it's becoming more mad, because you cannot deny yourself, especially as frequency of earth is rising so fast. Anything unhealed has to be integrated. Okay? So the videos, the film is very good. You should watch it, because you cannot, you have to become in wholeness within yourself. So it's your mirrored shadow versions, right? Your distortions. Is there anything else I want to talk about? It's also the things that scare you. It's like a horror film, isn't it? So it might be scaring you and bringing up uncomfortable situations within you, because you have to kind of associate yourself in the shadow and love it, because you might be rejecting it. And that's what the twin flame does. But you do it for them too. You play out those roles of mother and father, and you trigger the fuck out of each other until you're done. All right. So the shadow twin isn't evil, but it's hungry for recognition and integration, okay? It's your shadow wanting to do that. And from a political standpoint, it's showing the United States, the US and us, about how basically you have to bring that split psyche, which is also not only individually, but it's nationally and internationally. All of the world has to go through those phases. And with twin flames, you have to become into balance with your masculine and feminine energies, firstly individually, then in your couple, in your union, and then inside of the world. Then you do your purpose, right? But you should be doing your purpose anyway, but basically you're bringing that balance in three forms. And yeah, so basically, again, regarding the US, it's like you cannot be who you want to be when you do not acknowledge that shadow aspect of extraction, inequality, violence, erasure, colonization, racism, discrimination. Yeah. Because it demonstrates a distorted society where basically it's saying people can stay invisible or in poverty or inequality so others can stay comfortable. And that paradigm in New Earth cannot exist. So it's very interesting. If you can analyze it. I've got loads of analysis here, but I don't want to bore you, but it's very analysis. It's very analyzing. It's very interesting. When a nation won't integrate its shadow, the shadow organizes. And that's what's happening in the world right now. So God is saying, 0 point, how long can you stay in the middle without reacting to the shadow, right? Because in the movie, they are confronted with their other selves, and it's very horrifying for them. But if you stay neutral and still and not triggered and just witness, you can basically get to that level of not likability, understanding with each other. Because the family is trying to stay normal, but they have loads of fears that they're not acknowledging. So how much, and this is family time right now, right? So how much zero-pointedness can you maintain with your family? For me, obviously, I had a go at my father, but I had so many factors going on, right? Like I mentioned, the illness, the passport expiry, and the filming, and this and that, and then the whole taking care of the parents, and then obviously I have thousands of views. So there was a lot, and I cracked. But we should be able to maintain that zero-pointedness, especially during this family time and the triggers that are going on. So I'd like to understand and hear if you are being triggered. I mean, some of you have global purposes and have a lot on your plate, and some of you have just localized stuff, and some of you have even started doing your purpose and are just living in La La Land. But the ones who are doing more localized work, it doesn't mean it'll be easier. It's just, it could be more intense because you're working with lesser people. I would love to hear how you have been during this festive season. Have loads of things been coming up to you? Boundaries is a huge issue, especially for feminines, divine feminines, during this time as well. Because especially the ones who have done a lot of work but haven't learned to be more masculine in their energy, people try to take the piss, right? Like I've gone on about at the beginning of this video. So hopefully by being quite brutal, I've helped you to get that backbone for yourself, because you have to protect your energy. You have to protect your energy, otherwise people won't give a shit about it and walk all over you. And if they do that, then your DM will do that. That's why it's very important for not only just your union. I'm not really concerned so much about you and your union. I'm concerned about Earth and planetary mission work. So in order for you to be doing universal planetary mission work, you need to have your shit together. And therefore, I want you to be more with your boundaries, respecting others, but also your own. Yeah? Okay. All right, let's carry on. Because during these times, you could be seen as the responsible one, the scapegoat, the invisible one. You could be compared about your body, your career, your relationship. You may regress. You may get pulled back into that shadow sort of way with your family, right? And it's like, how are you going to stand up for yourself? How are you going to say enough is enough? How are you going to say fuck off? Respectfully. And the thing is also, like with the shadowed aspect in the movie, the ones that live underneath, they're called the tethered ones, they're very jealous of the people living the life up on earth, right? So often your DM feels that way, and they are kind of competing against you, and they want to come on the upside, right? They also want to be being in the limelight, but you cannot bypass your work. You have to do the work to get to God, essentially. You cannot just pretend your way there. Energy doesn't lie. All right. Is there anything else? I don't want to talk about these things. Okay. All right. And right now, a lot of you are getting a lot of synchronicities. I certainly have been talking about how I keep seeing 1111. And the more peaceful you remain and more joyful, and then the dreams and telepathy start, it means union is close, people. For some of you, not everyone. For some of you. And I think that's it. So, now what I want to talk about, before I do any questions, is I want to solve some of the mysteries that it's taken me 3 years to figure out. So the first mystery was, a lot of you kept asking, and I never really got this, right? A lot of you kept asking, oh, I feel his emotions, and I feel the sexual energy, and I feel this, and I feel that. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't really feel that, honey. Like, I'm good. Like, maybe in the first year I felt a little bit, but since then, I don't feel him. I feel good. I might feel something joyful from him, or I felt when his Satori happened, but otherwise, no. Like, why are a lot of you drowning in, oh my God, he's pulling on my heartstrings. Oh my God, I feel his pain, his negativities, all his stuff. Why is that? And it bugged my head for so long, and I figured it out. So, those who feel their DM's negative emotions, the reason why you're feeling that is because you are a frequency match to them. So you are on the same vibration as them. So if they are in negativity, so are you. If you do your inner work and you rise and you get into high vibration, you don't feel them no more. You feel great. And you also inadvertently help to pull them along. Okay? So those of you who are lamenting and drowning and feeling their pain is because you are in negativity yourself. You are in negativity yourself. And those who are feeling the constant sexual energy is because your lower chakras are still blocked and are being cleared. So you got to do more work. And then I also wanted to always understand this one was like, why for me and my DM was the energy so apocalyptic and so nuclear reactive, and then a lot of the other ones that I hear, it's always very gentle and easy. So what I figured out, because now I says during this illness, I've had direct connection with God. God knows all these messages coming through. So twins with more ego tend to have bigger nuclear reactions when they activate each other, like me and my twin. Because you are so polarized, so positive and negative, when you meet, it's a huge chemical reaction, okay? And then huge packets of light are exchanged. And therefore your separation can be longer, okay? And packets of light, I want to explain that in terms of communication, because that I didn't manage to explain fully in the live when I rewatched it last week. So when we communicate with our twin flame, either by messaging or face-to-face, or even telepathically to an extent, but let's not go too much into detail. Every time you do it, you send light codes or packets of light to each other, okay? And if you send big, massive chunks of it, you're going to overwhelm them, okay? That's why I always say when you communicate with them, keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it light. Don't put all your issues, abandonment, rejection onto them and, oh, you make me feel this. Don't do any of that. You have to resolve it within yourself first, because I know some of you are like, oh, but we should have boundaries, we should say our truth, we should do this. The DM doesn't really give a shit about what you say. It's about what the energy is revealing. You could say all the words. You could say all the lovely words. You could read a book of poems, right? You could read a book of poems and be like, but inside your energy is so anxious, they feel the energy. The universe also does not respond to your words. It responds to your emotions and how you feel, your energy, your frequency. So packets of light get exchanged, between twin flames. And the more you go on and on and on, the more you kind of push them away, because you want to drip, drip, drip and small and steady, but you want to be still and peaceful actually, and no need for words. So that happens. So if you have a huge ego, which me and my twin did have, and huge traumas, then it's explosive, the reaction, nuclear reaction. But if you have less ego, then your activation is more peaceful, because you're not as polarized. You're more similar on a level of vibration, okay? So your activation isn't as big. That's that. And the last realization before I do questions is many DMs run away from control because their mothers controlled them all of their life. They have an issue with feminine energy, especially toxic feminine energy, which they project onto you. And you do the same with them. You project your masculine distortion issues onto them, and they mirror that back to you. So then what happens is the DM sabotage in spite of themselves. So they will do all the crazy stuff despite it destroying them. It does, and they feel guilty about it afterwards, right? Then God breaks their ego. It breaks their ego, and then they get into realization and they feel guilty. So yes, my DM was reflecting all of that stuff as well, because I had a lot of issues. Final thing before I take questions is there is maybe one space left on the retreat. There's someone who wants to take the spot. And then also the girl with the visa passport issue, that's on hold as well. So if you want to come, there may be possibilities. So just get in contact. And let's answer some questions. Okay. Let's see what you gotta say. Hope you're feeling better. A little bit. I still don't eat much, but that's okay. I am losing weight, which is great. Staying positive. Values and respect time and knowledge. You do not need to explain. Okay. Thank you. They don't do their inner work. Waste everyone's time. Okay. So a quick side note. You know my cousin I blocked for so long, since April last year, because I was on ibogaine medicine, and she was always telling me to like do her kids' homework and fill her forms and do this and that. It's really crazy. Even though, you know, I told her I'm always busy, I have a regular job, I'm helping other people. As I used to say to her, you need to help me. Well, rather than her helping me, she used to ask me to help her, and I was too people-pleasing. And I used to do everything for her. But I was doing ibogaine medicine, and I was literally dead. Not dead, but like I was on the medicine for like 2 days, and I couldn't answer my phone, right? And she got in a huff and a puff because I didn't answer her. I didn't fill in her daughter's maths homework or something like that, because I was going to medicine literally in a few minutes, and she was that self-absorbed and distorted. Anyway, so she, whilst I was on medicine, and she knew that I was on medicine, but she wasn't she would always forget. She was like these distorted feminines, right? She would always forget that I had a client, and then she would keep phoning me, for example, and be like, why are you answering my phone? She'd call me like 20 times a day. But anyway, when I was on the medicine and my shaman was there, and I put the phone on the side because I had one of my friends in Mexico to phone me the next day to make sure that I was alive, right? She phoned me non-stop, even though she knew I was on the medicine. She was that disrespectful. And I don't block people normally, like family, I mean. But that, when I came out of the med, because my shaman was really pissed off. He says, who keeps phoning you? And so I blocked her. And I recently unblocked her, because you know when I scratched my knee and she messaged me on TikTok or something? And basically by blocking her since April, she's completely come into her power. She got promoted twice. She started to do shit for herself. She understood boundaries. She understood how she was taking the piss. Because what you lot don't realize, that not only do a lot of divine feminines take the piss out of me on social media, but I have my personal life where people taking the piss out of me. So I get fucked all angles, to be honest. And I have to kind of like really work on myself. But when you do take a stance, they're not happy. Like that divine feminine who blocked me on WhatsApp today. But it does them good in the long run. And then they thank you. My cousin thanked me for blocking her. So there you go. So don't feel bad. That's what I'm trying to say. It's all respecting your worth and your respect when you respect yourself with strong boundaries, people either get angry or follow and understand. Create a good, strong network so everyone will. I'm currently in the bitter stage. So you're meaning bitter at your twin flame. It goes. Eventually it goes. It will, but I know it will pass. You know, I wanted my twin dead. I took my mention. It goes. How is Australia? Do you miss Bali? Australia is amazing, right? It reminds me of America. I know the Australians won't like this, but it looks like where I'm right now in Queensland is like Florida. The roads are big and there's lots of space. So I kind of like it, you know, being in an English-speaking country. Do I miss Bali? A little bit less now, actually. I'm a bit lazy in Bali, I feel. Not as productive. One of the biggest gifts this journey gave me was precisely inner work. Getting professional help was paramount to understand myself and my family traits, and you end up feeling so good. And the money always comes somehow. How do we know our twin is ascending? I answered that question. The masculine, DM. Take power of yourself, right? Hey, purpose. Hey, Manny. Last live of the year. Oh, is it? Oh, it is. So let's start 2026 without being desperate. Just got guidance of Ma, and intuitively Ma energies directed me towards your DP. You are blessed from Ma Kali. Okay, so Ma Kali, sorry. She wants to deliver this message to you. You're truly blessed. Oh, thank you so much. Sorry, Manny. Any other questions? The tower moments through upgrades. Exactly. Boundaries are a must as a person who shares energies online and publicly. Where can we see us? I'm sure you can find it online somewhere. Maybe Netflix or Amazon, I don't know. What's the film's name? It's called Us, US, Us. Do you think he think of me? They always think of you, but they're very good at blocking it. Welcome to Australia. I think Australia is beautiful. Such a beautiful... I'm very surprised by how clean and well organized it is. It's so beautiful. How to maintain 0 point with family? They are much in ego and bond with gossips. I know. But you know, when you do your purpose, you actually learn how to be more balanced. So I think me doing this social media stuff actually has helped me so much to not get it. Well, firstly, my DM was so crazy that I really learned not to get triggered by anything. And then some of you lot are so crazy. So I think do your purpose, and your DMs will teach you. But it's about kind of like staying in a peaceful place, but you do that through inner work, and you realize that God is with you always, and it's constant, and you can withdraw your energy at times, and sometimes the dragon's going to come out, and you are going to have to say things to people and blast them. You will have to. My nose is starting to drip. Okay. All right. You go through the triggers, do the hard work, help others in soul from your learnings. Okay. Time to bend. Reminder. That's what my app just told me. I met a new friend today. Interesting. Okay, friend, I gotta go now. I recently dreamt that he told me he loved me. I was so shocked and asked him what he said, and he repeated it. He had never told me that at the years we were together. Well, they won't tell you when you're together, really. They won't ever pander to your ego. But the love is always there, and you should feel it, right? You don't need the confirmations. Love you, Manny. You look great. Oh, thank you. We've got no lighting or microphones. I'm very selective who I allow into my life. Well, that's great. You know, but we can't live under a rock, can we? Either. Especially when we have big missions. Hi, Manny. Okay, wonderful. So I want to wish you a happy new year before. And next week Sunday, I should be finding out whether they let me on the plane to Bali. And if I arrive in Bali or I have to get a return ticket to London. We shall see. God always knows the truth. There are no accidents. So today's message in conclusion was family times can be very triggering. We are being tested. And the tests are not just about whether you message the DM for Christmas. The tests are real right now to see how anchored, rooted, balanced, and in 0 point you can stay. Because you are being tested for your unions. A lot of DMs are in guilt right now, and they're really understanding the magnitude. And they will be coming back next year, especially if you've done your work. So especially if you've done your work. I will miss Bali. Well, maybe I will. Let's see. But you will... If you do your work, you will get you will see the dividends. And also have boundaries. So I respect other people's boundaries, but also do your own boundaries. Someone's asked how to do inner work. So there's playlists on YouTube and TikTok for everything. There's probably 3,000 plus videos on those platforms. Then you've got my twin flame course, you've got coaching, you've got group coaching, you've got the retreats. This is not my first video I've made. As you can tell, I've most likely answered every question that anyone's asked me. I usually don't even answer people's questions. I remember like people would send me requests, can you make a video about this? I've never really done that. I always make what I want to do when I want to do it. But I have answered all the things. There's literally 2 playlists on YouTube and TikTok to do with inner work. Then there's playlists on healing, shadow work, inner child. You've probably got like 5-6 playlists with probably about 300-400 videos. So knock yourself out. Right. Take care. God bless. Happy New Year. Bye.